How to invest $1,000, right? What do we do? So if it takes you a long time to save up $1,000 and someone gives you the advice to put it in an ETF, they don't want to see your $1,000 blow up, become, $10,000. So this is a system that I use to grow my $6,000 account into a six-figure account. And you can see for yourself it works before you try it. I have a bunch of videos up that show how it works every day, how I can make 25% return on my money in any one day with that $1,000, and it only takes $1,000 a day. So I literally don't make more than $1,000 trade on any one day. Probably made bigger trades 10% of the time. So I would really, really, really recommend this for someone with a small account. So specifically, we're going to buy and sell one stock, Tesla, TSLA. It's very famous in the news in late 2020, and it will be famous for many years to come because it is a powerhouse in the stock market. And so we are going to buy options on Tesla, and we have a 5-step process to set up the buy and then execute the sell. And we're going to focus on certain characteristics of the Tesla option, make sure they're all right. We're going to use certain studies, certain criteria about the stock, or the option rather, before we do anything. And then once we know everything's right, we're going to buy it, and then we're going to go ahead and quickly sell it. So this strategy, it can take, you can do this about 3 to 4 times a day just on Tesla stock. So first thing is we want to know what the option expiration is. And if you don't know the basics of options, you should try and get as much knowledge as you can, but contracts expire on a certain day, and we don't want to be anywhere near those expirations because as you move closer to the expiration, the prices move really fast, and we don't want really fast. We want in one direction in our favor. So we want to stay away from those contracts expiring soon. Essentially, you're only trading next Friday's expiration. So if you're in this Monday, you're not trading this Friday's expiration, you're trading next Friday's expiration. And you're doing that up the whole week. So on this Friday, you're trading next Friday's expiration. Okay? And we're choosing contracts that are large. That means they have lots of premium built into them, and they don't move as fast. But the pricing is kind of right, so we can get in and get out and make money. And we're using something called a CCI, and it's really about momentum. And like I said, that momentum is going to be really skewed as we get closer to expiration. So we want to be as far away as we can so that we can see where the momentum is and not be overtaken by the options momentum versus the market's momentum. All right. So we're also going to focus on time of day, which is really important. Um, so we're not gonna trade the first 15 minutes of the day. We're not gonna buy between the first 15 minutes of the day and the last 15 minutes of the day. There's lots of bots in the system that will do lots of work in those 30 minutes that we want to stay away from them because they're not natural market players and will uh, make our solution a little bit less effective. So we don't want to mess with it, right? But you can sell all day. You can sell into those times. So if by chance, the system tells you to buy at 3:30 p.m. and doesn't give you a sell signal by the end of the day, you can wait till the next business day, and during those first 15 minutes, if you get a sell signal, you can sell. Okay? Um, but I would say in general, 95% of the time, your trade is going to be within the same day. In fact, you want it to be within the same day because the overnight of Tesla is very strong, and you can go into a new price of Tesla in the next day that makes no sense, and your pricing didn't make sense. My solution didn't take account for it, um, but it's still okay to buy at 3:30. Just we're hoping that we sell by 4 o'clock at the end of the business day. So 9:30 to 4 o'clock, you can sell, but do not trade, do not buy in the first 15 minutes or the last 15 minutes. All right. So before I get into the more triggers and stuff, I know you have lots of questions already. Like, is this for me? Look, I'm trying to tell you, you're going to be in and out in like 20 minutes. You might have to wait a little bit longer because you're making more money. And so that's good, right? Do you need to know option fundamentals? It never hurts. I mean, there's plenty of free ways to find out about options. Uh, you're going to know that, deltas and thetas and all that stuff, know what they are. You're not going to need them with my solution, but you should know about options, right? And then, do I have to sit in front of a computer and wait for all these triggers to happen? Uh, no, I mean, you can, but if you just want a solution that sends you the notifications when this happens, I have that system. You can contact me if this solution is working for you. And you say, wow, this is really is doing what he promised. I want to go ahead and upgrade to a notification system. We can definitely talk about that. And then lastly, if you're new, you probably don't know about the PDT rule, but there is such a thing called the PDT rule. And that says if you have less than $25,000, you can only day trade, 3 times a week, 3 times within 5 business days. So how do we get around that rule? Because we want to make lots of money. Easy answer, create more accounts. So when I first started out, this is what I did essentially, right? I started out with $6,000, and I put $1,000 in each one of these different accounts, and started day trading on different accounts each day. If you start out with $1,000, it doesn't make sense to spread it out over multiple days. You want to wait until you get $2,000 in one account and then start a new account someplace else. So start out with $1,000 in Fidelity, trade your options. When you get to 2,000, put $1,000 into E-Trade. Right now you have $1,000 in Fidelity and $1,000 in E-Trade, and now we're going to do day trading on Monday and Tuesday kind of thing. Okay. So I'm going to build, and then over time you'll have 5 accounts and $5,000, and you'll just be cranking away. So the third trigger is going to be a Woody's CCI, and that just really measures the momentum. And we're going to strip out a lot of the Woody's CCI. We're only going to show the actual CCI indicator and then the up and down line of extreme movement called the Sidewinder lines. And the Woody's CCI measures momentum, and when you're above or below 200, you have some kind of extreme momentum, and that's what we're going to take advantage of. So we want to recognize that we are going to get in a deal when the Sidewinder line is below 200, okay, on the negative 200. And you want to make sure you can definitely do this during the power hours, 9:45 to 11, and then 2:45 to 3:45. The rest of the day, you really see this. If you do, it's very rare. You can choose not to take it. It's okay to take it. It means there's something extreme going on, but we're going to do something different when we exit this purchase. All right. So no purchases in the first or last 15 minutes of the day. You can't stress that enough. And then if we see 5 red sidewinders in a row, so you'll see the sidewinder is like, every minute it turns a different color. If we see 5 in a row, we're going to do something different. We know that the momentum is stalled and we need to do something. So if we're in the middle of a trade, we can get out early, right? And if we're about to get into a trade, we can just stay away. We just know red sidewinders are no good. Well, 5 in a row are no good. And it just means that the price, is kind of stalled. All right, and then this is just, I guess it's me being cheap or something, but you have to pay for options, but you don't have to pay for stock equity trades. So if you trade one contract for $10 or one contract or 10 contracts for $1, you're paying 10x more in fees to Fidelity, E-Trade, TD America, Thinkorswim, all those guys. So your profits are immediately eaten up, right, by fees. And so I think $1,000 is a lot of risk, and at the same time, compared to the other Tesla prices, it's not a lot of risk. So what we're going to do is we're going to say $1,000 is where we want to be, and we're only going to do one contract, right? And that way, when we make money on that trade, we can say, hey, we got in, we got out, we were happy. We don't want to put the entire portfolio at risk on every trade. You might have to at the very beginning, right? And just trust the system. But in general, we don't want to do that. We don't want to put more than 10% of the portfolio on the line on any day. But again, if you're new, you might have to do that. And you might even say, hey, I might go for smaller contract amounts. But, you know, you're not going to want to put all this work in for 50, 60 bucks of profit versus, $300 worth of profit. So I think it makes more sense to do $1,000 trades. So a little bit about how options are named. We're going to have calls and puts. So calls are going to be, I think the price is going up. Puts is, I think the price is going down. And our Woody's CCI is going to look at both, and we're going to know whether or not it's going up or going down, or whether or not to buy a put or a call. Okay, and the volume in Tesla is so high that we can assume that the Woody's CCI for one put option is similar to the Woody's CCI for another put option that are around the same price, right? So then we build the price name. This is the option name. So it's Tesla and some stuff. And so you'll see that there's a P for put and a C for call in the name of the option entity, right? And that's what we're going to trade. And we want to have the strategy ready for a call or put around $1,000. So as we're waiting for the Woody's to set up and move to that high sidewinder, that extreme sidewinder of 200, we're looking to see what prices, what call or puts are moving towards $1,000, so that we can get in, get out, make 10%, make $100 on a trade, and not waste our time with $600 contracts or $6 contracts. All right. So once we know what option we want to get into, right? That's around $1,000. Then we can expect 10% profit on that. And so we can kind of either set up a trade that says I want to get in at 1,000 and out of 1,100, or I can just keep in my mind, hey, when this hits 1,100, don't get greedy, let me sell, right? Or when I hit the right metrics and I'm seeing this 1,100 and I see that I hit all the exit criteria, time to get out. Let's not stay in the party too long. Get our money, go. All right. All right. So we've gotten the trigger from the Woody's that says, hey, it's a good time to buy. We're making one more check before we do that, and that's the Voss prediction filter. And the Voss is it just tracks peaks and valleys of the price, right? So we're really just making sure that we're buying it at the valley, right? And once we see that Woody's say, hey, I'm in an extreme momentum, we want to wait until that Voss line is higher than the bandpass filter line in the Voss prediction filter. So that means that the momentum's there, and we've seen momentum up out of that valley. So we know we're not going to test new lows. We're going to keep on heading up because the momentum's already pushed it. We're ready to go. And now we're going to go ahead and use that Voss prediction to keep on smoothing up into our profits, right? So about 90% of the time when your Woody's is saying time to buy, you're going to see that your Voss is not ready to go. You're going to have to wait. And you want to wait until you see those 2 minutes of positive trending between, your green line for loss and your red line for that um, median bandpass filter. So that tells us that's the real trigger when we buy. We have to be a little bit patient and know that it's a good time to buy. Something's around we can hunt, but now it doesn't really, not time to fire until we're actually almost guaranteeing that this option price is going to move up. All right, so when do we exit? Well, Woody's again. So we want to make sure that momentum has shifted the other way and the extreme way, and it's about to go back in the other way, right? So during the power hours, we want to go to the other sidewinder at positive 200 and get out. Okay, and during the rest of the day, if we decide to make a trade during the rest of the day, in the middle of the day, we don't want to wait till 200. The momentum, the volume is not there. The momentum is not there in the middle of the day, and so we want to get out a little bit earlier. The profits can be between 8 to 9% versus 10%. So we want to make those trades, or they're fine to make, but we don't want to expect too much of them. So we're going to get out a little bit earlier than we would have if there was a power hour trade. Okay. When we're looking at the actual price, we've done some things to it with some analytics uh, called TTM Trend and TTM Scalper, and these will overlay on the price and they'll help us. The TTM Trend is going to show us when we have more buyers or more sellers. So when we have more buyers, you're going to see the TTM Trend turn to blue, and we have more sellers, you'll see it turn to red. And so essentially we want to make sure that while we're in our trade, we're staying blue. If we start to see red, we know that so the buyer and seller momentum has shifted. So that's going to help us to figure out, the price momentum is one thing, but the buyer momentum is what we're really worried about. So it's a helpful indicator when you want to enter a trade, and then you can see more buyers. So the other one is a TTM scalper, and that works with the Woodies to help predict the exit, actually. So the Woodies gives us that conservative 10% exit. This TTM scalper will tell you, hey, you can go a little further. You can go a little further. If you don't see that sell signal from the scalper around the same time as your Woodies exit, you can actually stay in that trade a little bit longer and make some more money. The only thing is the TTM scalpers are about 2 minutes late. It's kind of a calculation, and about 2 minutes after you should leave, the TTM pops up at most 2 minutes. So you'll see, it's blue, 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 red. Price going up. Should I enter? Should I leave? I don't see the arrow yet. You can leave. You can totally leave the trade. But once you see that red arrow, it said, "Hey, you should sell," and you're still in the trade, and you're kind of wondering if should I stay, should I go? Get out. That's really the signal to get out. So if you see a sell signal while you're in a trade, you probably have been in the trade for 2 minutes longer than you should be. So lastly, what we can worry about is Fibonacci and Woodies. And what this is everything is governed by this mathematical Fibonacci sequence. Even the momentum indicators like Woodies is governed by Fibonacci. So what that means is price action tests a certain level, retreats, and then comes back. And it's mathematical. And it just kind of works on everything. It's amazing. But the problem is we want to take advantage of it and make the most money we possibly can. So what does that signal look like for the Woodies? So and for the delay entry, what that looks like is you see that quick test between all of a sudden you see a high to tell you to sell, and then it dips down to a low immediately within 15 minutes, and that means to buy, but I wouldn't buy then. I would wait until you see that second test of a low below that 200, and you're going to see it over and over again. Like, wow, it happened again. I can't believe it. The market drove it down really low, and then forces pushed it back up, and then the market said, no, it's really supposed to go low, and it goes low again. So the market's correcting itself, and you don't want to be in the middle of that correction. You want to wait until it hits the absolute lowest point, and then you're going to get in at that point. And then the same is true for the exit. So that's something just to be aware of. If your option pricing is moving faster than your market pricing, which is what we're seeing there, we want to stay away. it's too erratic, and we want to let the Fibonacci sequences kind of play through on your pricing. So um, just be careful with these fast moving changes in the stock. And this happens as we move towards that Friday. So you'll see more and more of these on Thursdays and Fridays of the week versus on Mondays and Tuesdays. So I actually make 2 times as much money on a Monday as I will on a Friday, just because I have to wait so long to get into a trade. All right, so that's it. That is the entire thing. You're gonna find yourself easily making 10% on each trade because you're in a nice size trade and you're not wasting your time. And hopefully you can implement this with some help from me or from my other videos that show it actually in action. And I just want to be helpful. If you want to get my signaling system, once you figure out, this really works for you, that's great. If you want to spend some additional time with me, like to do a one-on-one for an hour and really set this up and really kick some butt, we can do that too. Just use the links in my description below.